Today's Daily Autism podcast, we're going to talk to the CEO of Special Strong. His name's Daniel Stein. We're going to talk about adaptive fitness training and how it relates to autistic kids. It's actually a term I've never heard of before, but the conversation gets stretched deep. We go deep diving into actually how this helps change the brain, which in turn leads to modified and very positive behavioral results. Real fascinating conversation. The website is specialstrong.com. And we'll get to that interview in just a second. Thank you to our title sponsor, Warrior Mom. Her name is Tracy Slepcevic. WarriorMom.org is where you get her book. Also, Tracy, this early in 2024, is debuting the Autism Health Summit. You can go to autismhealth.com. First of its kind, a remarkable environment, especially for parents. And it's going to be really fun to get there and see everybody in San Antonio. It's at a beautiful resort. Autismhealth.com for tickets. Also, thank you to the CEO of Technology North, Ling Huang. Ling has developed an unbelievable technology. He is changing the game as it relates to employment opportunities with young adults on the autism spectrum. You can go to technologynorth.net. Also, thank you to the original Krabby Bills on Indian Rocks Beach, Florida. They are great community partners to the Daily Autism program, just a great family business. They have several sister brands as well. But it is our place to go as special needs parents. You've got to find that time to unwind, to be social, get together with your neighbors and people in your social group. That is the original Krabby Bills. Live music every day in the loading dock. That is the place to be. Feel like you're kind of disappeared out to a tropical island on Indian Rocks Beach. Also, the Lift Academy, of course, they are brand new now in Clearwater, Florida. I should say it's their brand new campus. They're open. This is 95% of their students are on a scholarship. They can help you get all that information. They are partners in that process. liftfl.org. It is the Lift Academy in Clearwater, and they've got some great events coming up. So I'd invite you to go to their website and see how you can help them from a community perspective. liftfl.org. Also, we appreciate the friendship and the partnership with Fun Factory Sensory Gym. That is the website to go see them too, funfactorysensorygym.com. They actually just released a video of another install. Just unbelievable. Over 50,000 installs across the country. They do this residentially at homes. They'll go into therapy centers, hospital centers, churches, schools. They build the most unbelievable sensory experiences. It really is an experience for these kids. funfactorysensorygym.com. Check out their website. Follow them on social. They do a great job on YouTube and all of their social media platforms. Our friends at Aeroflow Urology are working hard to erase the diaper divide that, of course, exists in the United States. It's really unbelievable to think about. Let's take here for Florida, for instance, where a child may be able to get diapers and incontinence products, but then when they become an adult, they cannot get those services anymore. And as we know, our autistic children, they'll grow up, they'll become adults, and they'll still need these services that them and their families have become so used to. We'd love for you to sign the petition, which you can get the link at dailyautism.com, dailyautism.com, and the link is there for the change.org petition, which has been spearheaded by Aeroflow Urology. Again, thanks to all of our partners and sponsors for the dailyautism.com platform. And you're free to follow us on all of our social medias. We'd love to connect with you there. You can link to all of that at dailyautism.com. All right, here we go with our conversation with Daniel Stein. He, again, is the founder of Special Strong. You can get all their info at specialstrong.com. All right, we're hanging out with Daniel Stein. He is the CEO of Special Strong. I almost don't have to say that. I look at you and I'm like, yeah, this guy spends most of his time in a gym. I mean, you're playing the part very well.
I appreciate that. I need the gym. The gym is not recreation for me. It is very therapeutic, as it is for our clients.
Yeah, I can relate to that. I missed my first workout in like 6 months a couple days ago. And I got to tell you, I was off. I was just off the whole day. It really, the 6 inches between my ears, it's like I was in this fog. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So did you say that you missed your first workout in a 6-month period? So you worked out all those days in a row over 6 months? That's incredible. Look, Good for you, Mark.
Thank you. Well, it's like you said, it's the mental therapy. When you have 5 kids and and my youngest Cal autistic, we have to do it. But I got to tell you, that's a great routine to get in. If you can get into that routine, just do it. And not every day is like a 10 out of 10 workout, but just to get a sweat going, I got to tell you, it changes my whole day. I want to talk about Special Strong. This is a really remarkable organization you've built. You and your wife have built this up. And talk to me about, as it relates to autism, special needs, adaptive fitness. I've never really heard that before. Kind of explain that to what exactly that is.
Yeah, absolutely. So, really adaptive fitness is we're ultimately taking traditional fitness and we're adapting it for whoever is in front of us. So you mentioned autism. So let's say that we have an athlete in front of us who has autism. So I'm going to need to adapt my communication with that individual. I'm going to need to adapt the program design for that specific individual in a very different way than just traditional personal training or traditional fitness training. So that's how adaptive fitness is different than just regular fitness.
How did everybody's like in a category, they're drawn to a category. Why are you not just doing, personal training? You've obviously gotten in the category of special needs. There's got to be an underlying story there.
Yeah, absolutely. So, when I was 4 years old, I was diagnosed with a learning disability. My parents got me involved in sports, and that led to me working out in the gym, which really made a big difference in my life, having ADHD. And so naturally, I fell in love with fitness and working out. And then after high school, I actually had a mentor of mine sit down with me one day, and he said, Daniel, he said, I had this vision from God where I saw you working with kids and adults that had disabilities. And at that particular time, I was a full-time personal banker at Chase Bank. And again, I love fitness, but I never considered it as a career until my mentor gave me that vision. So that was in 2011. And so I ended up making a career change after that and getting into the mainstream general population fitness world. Started working with regular people that had no limitations of any kind. And then eventually in 2016, my wife and I started this company, Special Strong, all based on my mentor's idea. And I'll never forget, the first time I had the opportunity to work with a client, this particular client's name was Dakota, and he had a drug overdose that put him in a wheelchair. He was paralyzed. He was, I believe he was a paraplegic. And this was my first opportunity to work with someone that had a disability. And I absolutely fell in love. I didn't have any experience working with disabilities before that. But when I got to work with Dakota, everything changed for me. And I knew that I could not stay a regular general population trainer, because although I enjoyed that, there's a difference between a career and a calling. My career was working with the general population, making money, providing a salary for my family. My calling, which was when I came alive, was when I started working with Dakota. And now we've worked with, over 1,000 individuals with mental, physical, cognitive challenges as a result.
Yeah, the circle that I run in now, we talk a lot about meaningful, purposeful business, and it goes beyond dollars and cents. And of course, everybody needs dollars and cents for things to make sense. But there is something above, much deeper, and there's kind of a depth, that you can kind of explore in business when you find that calling. Let's talk specifically to autism, just because so many who follow this channel, that is what they are seeking out, information about, specifically their kids. Whether it's a success story or just an overall theme that you have noticed, what's kind of been the guiding principle and some of the visions that you've had, with your clients, people you've worked with about autism and Special Strong.
Yeah. So, our company has multiple locations across several states. And so we've worked with a lot of clients who have autism. And I have to share a personal story about a young man named Robert. And so I started working with Robert when he was about 15 years old. And Robert had severe meltdowns, severe behavior challenges, to the point where, his parents couldn't stop his meltdowns. So they would give him a football helmet, put it on his head. And, just like you have that brick wall behind you, he would go against a real brick wall and hit his head against the brick wall with a helmet on. I mean, he was such a big kid. His parents couldn't stop him when he had these emotional meltdowns. And so they came to see us. And, it took a couple of years of working with him, but he is completely emotionally meltdown free. It doesn't mean that he never has, small meltdowns, but he no longer has those meltdowns with the helmet. As a matter of fact, this is really neat. In addition to putting a helmet on his head, they would give him boxing gloves to go punch a boxing bag in the garage. And so we actually had a celebration in his backyard about 6 months ago where we started a small fire in the backyard, and he took his boxing gloves and, those little marshmallow sticks.
Yep.
He roasted those gloves because they were done. He didn't need them anymore. He was free of those meltdowns. And that's just one of many success stories that we have with individuals that have autism. But, with autism, the big things that they struggle with primarily low muscle tone, fine and gross motor skill deficiencies. And then you have the communication aspect where you have to really know how to communicate with them in order to get things done. You can't just tell them do a jumping jack and expect them to do a jumping jack. So there's a lot that goes into the exercise program design to address the low muscle tone, to address the motor skills. But we use a lot of principles from ABA in our workouts to help get them to actually do the exercise. They're not very motivated. And so we use things like positive reinforcers, reward systems to get them to actually comply and do the exercises. And, overall, I would say we have about an 80% success rate. I'd love to say that we can help everyone. We can't. But overall, we have about an 80% success rate. And that's all across the board, but also with autism.
Do you have the ability, for if somebody younger with autism wants to come in, wants to start training and their parents are there, do they have the ability to come with their therapist and kind of be guided there?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. We've done it many times. I mean, we have incredible trainers that work with the company. And so typically we want our individuals, our athletes to be as independent as possible. We don't want a parent to have to pay extra money for a therapist to have to come in with session because that's not free. I mean, that somebody's paying for that.
Mm-hmm.
And so 90% of the time, a therapist in the session is unnecessary. Are we open to it? Absolutely. But if we can save the parents and the families money and also promote independence, because remember, we want them to get away from relying on therapists and their parents for everything. A part of our mission is how can we get them to be as independent as possible? That is a part of our mission. And so, yes, we are their trainer, but during the training sessions, we're teaching them to do it on their own, make their own decisions, change the weight on their own, put the weights up on their own. And so in some ways, we actually discourage a therapist from being there unless there's severe maladaptive behaviors, then we do require a therapist.
Yeah, I really like the independence aspect. So do you kind of find, as they get into the workouts and more of a routine, is it sort of taking the gas out of the meltdown engine, that they have redirected the energy, the focus, and as time goes on, it's just, because I mean, even me, I get a real hard workout in or have a great week of workouts. I feel like I'm just calmer. I'm more focused. There's more clarity. Is it kind of along when we talk about adaptive fitness and autism, is that sort of what kicks in? Yeah,
I mean, there's a lot. There's endorphins, there's hormones that come into play. There's the biggest component is what's happening in the brain. And so as a part of our model, in addition to the natural benefits of exercise for the brain, we actually do targeted brain exercises for our clients that help reduce meltdowns, that help correct the imbalances when there's a dominant left side or a dominant right side. There's too much of a dominance. We do corrective exercises for the brain. So yes, there's the natural endorphin rush that makes everybody feel better, but we're actually doing things that help promote new brain cell formation. And we're actually doing things that literally rewire the brain. I wish we could do a brain scan before and after for, day one, year one. We don't have the technology for that. Maybe one day we will, but I think we would all be blown away if we were able to see what happened in their brain from some of the things that we do with them.
Oh, I think the typical human brain, if somebody got on a really structured workout regimen, you would see that. But then go to autism, and I think you're absolutely right. I think it would be remarkable. I think this is a really underserved topic. I mean, I really think where you are with Special Strong, it's almost embryonic. I just feel like for so long it was like autistic kids will never be able to work out. They'll never be able to focus. They'll never be able to build muscle tone. And when you really start looking at what these kids need and exercise and regular exercise, I just really think you're onto something. And I love the aspect too of, no, you guys set up the weights, you set up the next workout. I love that process, and my son Cal, I mean, he loves processes. He loves, understanding he's going to do this, he's going to do that, he's going to do that. And then this will happen, right? It's a chain reaction, and then he'll break it down and then reset. So I just love that aspect of keeping them interested. I want to touch real quick on the business opportunity here of Special Strong. So you're not a standalone, right? You don't have your own buildings nationwide, but you're inside other existing structures, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So we use third-party facilities. Like as an example, we have a national partnership with 24-Hour Fitness all across the United States. So they're our preferred vendor that we like to use to bring in our athletes and train. But one of the reasons we use a third-party facility, there's a lot of benefits. Number one, the cost for the actual services are not as high because we don't have our own brick and mortar. And then the other nice thing about having access to those facilities is it really provides us with a much larger footprint that we can serve. And so if you think about a traditional gym, if you're a member there, you're going to have to travel to that gym. It might be 10 minutes away. It could be 30 minutes away. Whereas in our case, we might have 5 gyms in one particular territory. That way that whoever is needing that service, they drive enough for all the different therapies they have. So this reduces their drive time significantly, making it more convenient for them.
Yeah, it's an effective point, and a lot of families with autism understand usually there's a pitch count on a drive. We have kind of that 20-minute pitch count, and we know things could get challenging. So I again, it's a well thought out design for the families. So appreciate that. Along with, people who are families of autistic kids that resource the channels and stuff like that, there are, business people, entrepreneurs. I know a lot of people who, have started great businesses and then their child was diagnosed with autism. They then pivoted their business to serve the category, the families of autism. There may be people looking to do that. I know you have a franchise model with Special Strong. I'm just a guy that I always say I want to connect people. My background was in the media business, and I didn't talk about autism, at all. But then when I realized that, this was going to be my life forever, maybe I should explore a media side of autism and connecting families and the entrepreneurs of the products and services of autism. So I just want to give you that shot to explain to somebody that may say, I want to be an entrepreneur space, a business person in the space, or a manager in the space. What does Special Strong, how would you guys connect somebody like that with their community, let's say?
Yeah, absolutely. So, one of the things that's unique about our franchise that's very different than traditional franchises is this is a very, very rewarding franchise. This is not a McDonald's where you're going to be a passive owner and collect a paycheck every month. And there's nothing wrong with McDonald's. But I think a lot of people are, especially these days, they're looking for something that is more rewarding and to where they can get a return on investment for whatever it is that they're doing. And so the unique thing about our model is you have both components where you're getting to do something that, everybody absolutely loves. You're getting to make a difference in a way that you can't do at a traditional franchise. and the returns are great. I mean, we certainly don't say that you're going to become a millionaire in this particular franchise, and that we're not looking for people like that. But you can make a decent living doing adaptive fitness training, having a team, having trainers that work with you and underneath you, and really serving your community and making a huge difference for a very affordable entry-level franchise price. And we've got a separate website, specialstrongfranchise.com, with all the information. But if there's an entrepreneur out there, or someone that is an entrepreneur that has a son or daughter with autism, or even knows somebody, or just has a heart for that population, it's worth having a conversation. And we have a 5-step process that we take everyone through. We are not selling franchises. We are awarding franchises. So statistically, we only award a franchise to 1 in every 10 prospects that come through the door. So we're not desperately trying to sell and just give these franchises. We're really looking for the right people that have the right character, the right competency, the right core values, and they ultimately care about this cause and have a heart for it. And so if anybody like that is interested, we love to just have a simple introductory 20-minute conversation over the phone. Where, again, it's not salesy, it's not pressure. Let's just get to know each other and see if this could or couldn't make sense. And if it makes sense, let's go through the 5-step process and see what it would look like for your family.
Yeah, it's interesting. This community, parents, or anybody really that may have a nephew or a neighbor or a coworker, a son or daughter with autism. The community is not one for the salesy, the pressure, kind of like the slick tactics. It's like we've seen it all, because of what we're handling at home, and so it's But the flip side of that is it's a very connected group of people. The community is just, I always tell people, you hear about word of mouth. There is nothing like word of mouth in the special needs community, and that could be good or bad, depending on the product or service. So it is a special community. It's a very powerful community, but one that if you treat the people right, they will reward you with a lot of positive chatter. So I think that's a great way to approach it. There he is, Daniel Stein, specialstrong.com. And what was the separate website again for the franchise model?
Yeah, it's a Special Strong Franchise.
Special Strong Franchise.com. Awesome. Yeah, you've got a lot of great stories and media on your website on specialstrong.com. I just kind of an uplifting run through the internet there last night, and I thought it was cool to see all the pictures. It's really cool that you documented all that. Thank you, Daniel. We'll be talking soon, brother.
I really appreciate the opportunity, Mark.